Is brought to you by AutoZone. Of course, the news of the day, the passing of Padres owner Peter Seidler at the age of 63. And then tonight we have Aztecs basketball, 7 p.m. tip-off versus Long Beach State right here on San Diego Sports 760. Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got the battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, really a shocking day. We are here for you. We want to hear from you, Padres fans, our listeners. We are completely open. We are completely here for you. We want to react to a terribly sad day for San Diegans, for the Padres, for the Seidlers, for Padres fans. The passing of Padres owner and chairman Peter Seidler at the way too early age of 63. Devastating news. Devastating news. Everything else gets pushed to the side. Like Jim said, we'll have Aztec basketball tonight coming up at 7. But today's not a day to talk about contract statuses or payrolls or 2023 win-loss totals. Today is to really honor the owner and the chairman of the San Diego Padres passing away at the age of 63. Just heartbreaking. We are here for you. We would love to hear from you if you'd like to mourn him, if you'd like to offer your thoughts on this just terribly sad day. 844-570-1360, 70470. You can start your message with TEAM. We both had the same reaction. I didn't believe it. I mean, when it's so, you see a tweet, you know what I mean? It's not the way like humans are meant to receive news. A tweet, you know what I mean? I mean, that's just how we communicate. But the Padres owner has passed away and you find it on your phone. You're sitting somewhere, you look at it on your phone. But I mean, it's a massive loss, obviously, for the Padres, for San Diegans, and we're here to be there for you on a really tough day for a lot of people in the city.
So I was about to go out to breakfast with my mom, who's in town this weekend, my mom and my stepdad. And of course you see the report this morning from Kevin Acey about managers and everything.
Right.
And so I'm expecting the next type of news that we get is going to be about a manager. And I'm in the bathroom and I look at my phone and I get that email from the Padres.
I didn't see that.
And the first thought in my head was, oh my gosh, I just hired a manager. And then when I read the first line before even opening the email, because I could see it on my phone, I did a double take. Like, wait, no, this can't be real. Like, wait, what? Peter Seidler just passed away. Now we knew that he was not doing well. We didn't know any of the inside details that others knew. We didn't know how bad this was. We just knew, like everybody else did, that he was dealing with health issues, and he made a statement at the end of the year about the team. And then also he announced that he was going to be taking some time and we weren't going to hear from him from a while. And every time talking about Peter Seidler, it was, look, the first and foremost thing that he needs to worry about other than is his health. That is the number one thing for Peter Seidler. And then once he gets healthy, hopefully, then we can talk about what's going to happen with the future of this franchise. And then today you get the news and you're gutted. The one thing about Peter that you loved about him as the owner of your team was he wasn't just any other owner. When you see owners of teams, they're always buttoned up, wearing suits, the high and mighty class, sitting in their press box suite, and you rarely see them with the fans. The thing about Peter is he was a fan first. He was a fan first and foremost. He walked around like he was just another average person in the crowd. You can never pick him out of the crowd and say, "Oh, that guy's a billionaire." You would say that guy's a fan. And that's what Peter lived his life as the owner of the Padres, as being a fan first and foremost. And that's what's so devastating about today. Not only, number one, his wife and children that he leaves behind, and his mother as well, which I did not know who was still alive. that you think of them first and foremost. But as far as the Padres go and the ownership status, like he was, I think, by no questions asked, the best owner that this town, the fans have ever seen.
Yeah, and a 180 from some terrible ownership in other sports, by the way, that
Oh my,
this
yeah.
city has witnessed over the last 50 years.
Mhm.
Here's the thing. I did not know Peter Seidler. I think a lot of our listeners did not know Peter Seidler, but they were acutely aware of what he meant to San Diego, by the way, off field and on field, and the San Diego Padres. The thing that I always respected, and again, in our job, by nature, we're going to discuss the organizations in San Diego, right? I mean, you're going to have a critical eye. If things don't go well, you're going to have to take a critical eye. The one thing I would never question when it came to Peter Seidler was his desire to win and to do it against all odds. I hate when someone is told you can't do something. Right? We've all been there. You're growing up, oh, you can't play basketball. You're not good enough. Oh, you can't play this. You're not good. You can't get that job. You're not qualified for it. Screw all that. He tried to turn the sport on its head. It's hard to win in baseball in San Diego. I'm sorry. It is. And we can get into the reasons why. He spent unlike any owner in the history of the city with a desire to win and bring a parade here. It's not easy to do that. It's easy to say it. Every one of the 30 owners says we want to win. Only some of them actually back it. And he fully backed it for the entirety of his tenure as owner. I hope it continues into the future. I respect it like crazy. It's one thing to say something, but I love the idea of turning the little San Diego Padres into the mighty San Diego Padres. He turned the sport on its head. I said it a number of times. Public enemy number one of small market owners because he wanted to win, and he wanted to do it by any means necessary. Maybe understood the gravity of time. He had been a cancer survivor, so he understood things that others don't. There's only so much time. Right? You only have so much time for so many things. And he said, everybody else decides, so let's do everything we can to be a winner to San Diego, and he will forever be remembered for trying to do that.
Yeah, it's it's one of those days where you think about what he accomplished here and where he put this franchise when he came and became the majority owner from where it was to where it is now. It's at a place that you could say they're at the big boy table. They are officially with the big boys in baseball. And before Peter, you couldn't say that. Before Peter, it was about dealing with money issue and small payroll and any star player that was a free agent. Well, guess what? Not no chance to get them. Last couple years, every single offseason, it was, hey, who can the Padres go out and sign? Who can they all the money they have? And guess what it is? It's because of Peter Seidler. Peter Seidler is a person that is willing to take risks, is willing to go out there and be a disruptor. And that's who he was. He was a guy who rather take the big risk than sit around and not do nothing. He was somebody who the fans loved for doing that because they deserved it. And in this town, they never have gotten to experience that type of uh, owner that would go out and just spend a boatload of money to try to win at all costs. Are some of the some of the things that he did everything work? No, it has not. But he took a chance, and it's something that I think we all agree on. If you're a fan of this team, Peter Seidler is exactly the type of owner you
100%.
want.
100%.
Exactly the type of owner you want. So thinking about everything that he's done for the city and his dedication to fixing the homeless problem in town, it wasn't just about the Padres. He wanted to fix issues and problems with San Diego that he felt deeply about. That was with the homeless. Like he was so as much as he cared about the Padres as much as he cared about fixing the homeless problem here in town. And I know that the foundation the Lucky Duck Foundation, I know they put out there, our station account, and I retweeted it. If you want to help donate, because that's something that he was passionate about. Not only the Padres, that is something that you can go and you can help with as well. But it's just a huge, huge, huge loss city, for the Padres, for fans, and today it's we're not going to fully feel the loss of Peter Seidler today. It's not kind of it's going to take time to really know like how that Peter was. Man, that's a massive loss for this city, and it's heartbreaking. It's absolutely heartbreaking.
That's how, honestly, that's how, if you've ever, I mean, most people, and that's truly, you do feel that. Like, in a moment of, like, hurt, you're going to be thinking about this for a long, long time. You're going to think about this loss for a long, long time. And again, his impact on San Diego cannot be overstated. It just cannot. And the San Diego Padres as well. If you want to, 844-570-1360. Text us 70470. Start a message with team. Again, 844-570-1360. 70470. Start with team. You can go down to Petco Park. They've got the memorial set up for Peter through midnight tonight. Again, tomorrow from 6 a.m. until midnight tonight. Parking is free, by the way. And just sometimes you just need to be in your thoughts. And on days like today, it's kind of weird being in our shoes sometimes because I kind of prefer to be in the listener's shoes, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I want someone to talk to me about it because nobody's great with death. Is anyone great with death? Like, oh yeah, that's their specialty. Yeah. When someone passes, that's always been my forte. I mean, death is hard. It's real. I mean, it's real. It's hard. Everyone deals with it differently. And by the way, there's no right or wrong way. There's no right or wrong way. You don't have to act a certain way. You don't have to speak about it in a certain manner. You could, however you process it is how you process it.
Mhm.
And I process it differently than Jim, who processes it differently than Brent or whomever. So it's a tough day. And however you're dealing with it, again, if I had my druthers, I'd prefer to be a listener today, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
This is not my specialty. I'll take you fourth wall, take you behind the scenes. This is not my forte.
Nope.
It never has been. It never will be. I've always had a hard time with it. So truthfully, we could use our callers, 844-570-1360. We'll get to them in a minute.
Yeah, and just real quick, guys, I don't know what's going on with the audio on YouTube. Okay, I can't fix it.
It's your fault.
Brent has to try to do something. I can't do anything right now. We see your comments, we appreciate them, but we can't do anything because we're literally on the air. So yes, so we're not the engineers. We need to have other people do that behind the scenes. It's not. I'm sorry. Just deal with it for now. But yeah, let's get to the phones. 844-570-1360. If you want to give us a call, if you have a story, if you have something that you want to say about Peter, also 70470. Start your message with team. We'll deal with we'll read all your text messages as well throughout the day. Just let you guys know, today's show is completely about Peter Seidler. We're no rap, no Trainwreck Radio, no back page, no anything. This is all about Peter today, remembering Peter Seidler. Nobody cares.
Don't call us to talk about the Rams secondary.
Yeah, don't call us to talk about managers or anything. AJ Preller needs to be fired. It doesn't. None of that matters today. Okay.
No, we'll have more days of that.
Yes, but today is about Peter.
All right, 844-570-1360. We would love to hear from you today on a really somber day, of course, in the city of San Diego, the passing of Peter Seidler at the age of 63. Let's start with David on line 3. David, we appreciate you calling in, and you're on with Jon and Jim.
Guys, thanks for having me on. Just really tough day, really shocked and heartbroken when I heard the news. And, I mean, we had, obviously, I wasn't alive then, but Sterling, he tanked the Clippers, took them up to L.A., and then Spanos, ruined 2 Super Bowl windows running Ross and Schottenheimer out of town, and then took the team up to L.A., ripped them from us. And then, of course, Warner and Morad were very bad owners for the Padres before. So just really bad history with owners in the city. And Seidler was complete opposite of that with how much he invested in this team, and not just a great owner too, like a great human being who did so much in the community for the homeless and all that. And again, just all I can say is thank you, Peter, for giving us unprecedented hope and excitement as San Diego sports fans, and terrible loss for our city today.
It's a great call, David.
Thanks, David.
Appreciate you sharing your thoughts on it.
It is. It's just a terrible loss that I think nobody was prepared for.
Nobody's ever prepared for this type of stuff.
No.
Even if you're right, because we saw a statement literally within weeks that said Peter was dealing with health issues. But you never think that health issues means that someone is in a situation where they might be gone forever.
Like,
I mean, we don't know.
The one thing, there's multiple things I think about when I think about Peter Seidler, but we've talked about it a lot. And when Peter became the primary owner of this team back in 2020, and after the 2021 season, the sentiment from Peter was not only as positive as you could be after that horrible 2021 year and dealing with firing another manager and looking for another one, but his statement of he fully, firmly believed that this was going to be the decade of the Padres. And he believed that with all of his heart. And at times, you, as a fan, you were wavering back and forth, but he never did. And that's what made Peter so special. As an owner, you don't want to have an owner who is too emotional. You don't want to have somebody who makes rash changes when you're thinking to yourself, why there doesn't even need to be changed here. Like, just stay the course. But he always believed. He believed in AJ more than anybody. He believed in these players more than anybody. He believed that this city was going to soon have a parade more than anybody, right? He was the true fan. He was the embodiment of every San Diegan that roots for the Padres every single day. Every listener that we have that's Padres fans, he was the embodiment of them. And that's what made him so special as an owner, is that this town never experienced that type of owner for your favorite team. And that's what made him so special. Regardless of, you can say he shouldn't have paid this money or shouldn't have paid that money or whatever the case may be. He should have, AJ, it doesn't matter. The thing that Peter brought to the table that no other owner in this town has ever brought was his optimistic fandom. And that's what made him so special.
To me, and I would go a step further. I agree. I think there's a lot of people that feel the same way. And we're going to get your calls if you want to weigh in. 844-570-1360. Peter Seidler, Padres owner and chairman, passing at the age of 63 today. 844-570-1360. I said earlier, it's more than that for me. It's this willingness to do something above anything else, and that is to win.
Mm-hmm.
We forget at times, this is the point. It's professional sports. And you could never be critical of his desire to win. That's an amazing thing to say. You could have been critical of previous Padres owners' desires to win. Same thing for the Chargers or the Clippers or whomever else has ever played any sport in the city. But to say, I will do everything in my power to the point that you're blowing through luxury tax thresholds and finishing with the third highest payroll in baseball in market 27. Show me another example of anyone in the history of baseball that has done that. So now it may not have worked the way we wanted it to work. By the way, life's not always fair. But his recognition that it was going to take a special, every other way to try to win never worked here. He was going to have to try to do something differently. And he did that. And you give him a lot of credit for that. 844-570-1360. Let's go to Bert, who's been patient on line 6. Bert, thank you for calling. You're on with Jon and Jim.
Hey, happy Tuesday, because I know how you're doing. So, lifelong Padre fan, and so trying to find the good, and something you might not have thought about. 40 years ago, 1983, Ray Kroc died as the owner of the Padres, and it really lit a spark. And the next year, they went to the World Series, and now 40 years later, we got that opportunity to do it next year in 2024, 40 years after 84. And even if we don't, I'll still wear the jersey. I'll still root for the team. I'm used to heartbreak. I've lived in this town a long time. And you know, it'd be nice. It'd be really nice to win one. And I'm really crushed on Peter being gone, but cycle of life. And I just hope that it goes into the hands of someone deserving, because it's a special team and a special town. And I hope you guys have a great day.
Thanks a lot, Bert. Appreciate the call, man. Yeah.
Good call.
Look, I know that the mind wanders, and I know that there are people out there, I'm sure a lot, who are thinking about the future of the franchise and, who's going to be the owner now and who's is the successor to Peter Seidler. It's really hard for me to truly think about that today because I honestly, I have no clue. I have zero clue. I just know that the loss of Peter is more than just baseball in this town. It's more than the Padres. It's he's leaving behind 3 children and a wife, which none of us should forget today as well. This is not just about the Padres. He has a family. He's one of 10 siblings. He has 10
Yeah,
siblings.
it's amazing.
Which is
it's insane.
which is crazy.
Yeah.
His mother is still with us as well. So this is first and foremost about his family, and his children that are young. They're not. He's only 63 years old.
Yeah.
You look at Peter, and you would not think he was 63 because 63 to me is young.
Yeah,
and so when you look at his children, who I believe are 10, 8, and 3, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is.
It's heartbreaking to you to know that he's leaving behind 3 young children. And so the future of this franchise is for another day, but today it's about Peter.
It is. And we're going to get to all your
family.
calls and your text 844-570-1360. To Bert's point, by the way, Padres are a parade's coming at some point.
Mhm.
At some point. All right, 844-570-1360. Your reaction, our continued reaction to the news today, the passing of Peter Seidler at the age of 63. All right. Hey, guys, it's Schaefer. We've been telling you about the holidays, of course, coming up. You're looking for the perfect gift. You're a San Diegan, you're a sports fan. We have an amazing collectible for you commemorating the biggest moment in San Diego sports history, Lamont Butler's buzzer beater in the Final Four this past April. You get chills thinking about it. Wherever you were, I was in Houston. An amazing, amazing moment for the city of San Diego. You need to see this thing for yourself. ButlerAtTheBuzzer.com. ButlerAtTheBuzzer.com. This is your opportunity to relive this historic moment with this limited edition collectible benefiting Lamont Butler's NIL efforts and the Aztec Link Collective that benefits San Diego State student athletes. Each print is signed by Lamont Butler, authenticated and numbered. There are less than 100 of these remaining. Best of all, you're supporting San Diego State student athletes. Visit butleratthebuzzer.com to see these beautiful collectibles for yourself. Once they're gone, folks, they are gone forever. It supports San Diego State student athletes. It's the best holiday gift you're giving this holiday season. If you're a San Diegan, visit butleratthebuzzer.com.
All right, this update is brought to you by AutoZone. Of course, the news of the day, the passing of the Padres owner, Peter Seidler, at the age of 63. And we have Aztecs basketball tonight, 7 p.m. tip-off, San Diego State taking on Long Beach State. Of course, that game's right here on San Diego Sports 760. Starting Stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
We're going to be doing that until 6 p.m. We want to hear from you. This is about you, your reaction to the passing of the Padres owner and chairman, Peter Seidler. A lot of people want to weigh in, offer their condolences, perspective, thoughts, whatever you want to share. Again, we all deal with this type of stuff differently. We'd love to hear from you. We are a shoulder for you here today. 844-570-1360. A lot of very patient callers. Let's start with Ken. Ken, you're on with Jon and Jim, and thanks for calling.
Hey, how you doing?
Very
sad day here in San Diego. I've lived here for 57 years, and we've always kind of been like the stepchild to Los Angeles, where anytime we had something good, the owner would just think about himself and take the team off to go make money for himself somewhere else. And we finally got an owner that actually cared about our city and cared about our team. And never had we gotten like stars like Manny Machado. They were always the people that would leave our city and go be good somewhere else. And so I appreciate him for that so much. It gave us hope, and it was a wonderful time, and I'm so sad about that. But I do wonder now that he's gone, is AJ Preller vulnerable to being fired by the people that are in charge now before they picked a manager? And maybe that's part of the reason why they didn't pick a manager.
Thanks for the call, Ken.
Thank you.
To be honest with you, Ken, I don't care today.
Yeah, I'll answer it. He's not. He'll be the general manager.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter today. It really doesn't. It's my thoughts on like the situation with AJ Preller. Could care less about that today. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And by the way, he was going to be the general manager next year, no matter what.
No doubt.
So that's for another day.
Yeah. Oh, there'll be a lot of days on that.
And there'll be a lot of days on that. There'll be a lot of days about the future of this franchise and the manager and who steps into Peter's shoes and all of that, right? And the one thing that just guts you as a San Diegan is after the 2022 season, you felt like this is like this was it, right? This was the man to lead the way. There might be bumps along the way, and there definitely was this past year in particular, but you felt like you had the right person to lead the charge for this franchise. And, now you look at it and you're just gutted. If you're a Padres fan, you're gutted because I saw this on Twitter today and it was it summarized Peter and for the fans as well. Peter gave the fans ideas and hopes that they never thought were possible before him. Like the dreams of obtaining certain players were never something that Padres fans thought about until Peter Seidler. Regardless of if they turned out to be good or not, regardless if they turned out to be a bad contract or not, with Peter Seidler, anything was possible. And that was what made him so beloved by the fan base, is that you knew with him in charge that anything was possible. And you could never say that about any other owner in this town.
The thing is, as we all realize, like there's nothing more precious than health.
Nothing.
We all realize that. You can't buy health. And you also can't, he wanted so badly to win, but you can't guarantee it. Now you can do everything in your power, which is what he did. And that's what I respect about him. 844-570-1360. Let's go to Phil on line 5. Phil, you're on with Jon and Jim.
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call. It's a really sad day.
Yeah.
I wanted to call in. This is really something that I usually don't do. I'm an ex Fox Sports San Diego contractor that used to do Padres POV in San Diego Live.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I'm calling in is for you and your audience to realize not only was Peter a huge fan, he was a regular guy. I would be down on the field ready to shoot something with Pomerantz or Sweeney. And Fowler was the face of the organization at that time, and he would be, holding court and so forth. And Peter would side up to you and say, "Hey, what's your name? Where are you from?"
Mm-hmm.
And every day since then, from that point on, every time I saw him, he would go, "Hey, Phil, how's my Texas boy?" So, obviously, everyone realized he wanted the Padres to win, but he was a common man who happened to be a millionaire. And that's basically all I have to say.
Thanks a lot, Phil. That's exactly what I was saying, is that Peter was not just any other owner. Like he didn't have the typical look of an owner. He didn't have the typical feel of an owner. We forget, like, I know Phil said he was a millionaire. No, he was a billionaire.
Right.
He was very, very wealthy, but you never knew that. He was a common man, like Phil says there. He was a fan. He was somebody that could walk through the crowd and he would blend into the crowd because he was, first and foremost, one of the people, right? He never thought of himself as somebody that was above the fan base. He always thought about the fans first and foremost. And that's what made him so special as an owner. That's why a lot of Padres fans beloved him, because they knew that guy cares about me. That guy cares about us. He wants the betterment of all of the fans. The quote that sticks out to me the most of recent Peter Seidler, I guess, press conferences and talking to the media. And I put this out today. Like, this is one of the first things I thought of. Whenever there's a statue built of Peter, whenever they finally win a World Series, the quote from Peter Seidler saying, "1 year soon, the baseball gods will smile on the San Diego Padres and we will have a parade."
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
And you feel it.
Yeah.
You hope it.
It's coming.
You wish it. You try to talk it into existence. And that's what Peter always did. He always tried to talk it into existence.
All right, 844-570-1360. If you want to weigh in on the passing of Peter Seidler, again, 844-570-1360. I love the quote about him saying $500 million for Soto. I mean,
can't take that money with you. Can't take it with you.
All right, let's go to the first of two Johns, who's been on the line longest. John on line 2. You're on with Jon and Jim.
Hey, fellas. I hope you're doing well during this tough time. It is definitely a tough time to be a San Diego fan. I was like everybody else, absolutely shocked about what's going on for sure. But I want to kind of acknowledge that, I know we have our gripes about other teams, especially LA fans and stuff like that. But I've happened to notice online that there's a real big support by the LA fans, and they've kind of put our differences aside and know that we're all a bigger baseball family as a whole, which is really good to see that, it goes beyond just the game. And I just want to acknowledge that. But another thing I also want to acknowledge is that, Peter Seidler, his generosity really extended beyond the Padres to the homeless community out in San Diego. And I kind of want to give a quick shout out to the Lucky Duck Foundation, which he was a chairman of. He was obviously, that was his charity that he kind of ran and everything like that. And so I just want to give a special shout out to them, and definitely be donating my time. And hopefully we can continue Peter's legacy. It's an absolute gut punch to all San Diego fans for sure.
Great call, John. Let me sneak in one more call before we break. We want to hear from you. Phone lines are for you today. All right. We are here for you. We want to hear from you. Everyone deals with this type of news in different ways. Whatever you want to offer regarding your thoughts on Peter Seidler's legacy, 844-570-1360. Let's go to another John on line 4. John, you're on with Jon and Jim.
Hey guys, it's Cadillac John.
What's up, man?
Jim and Brent.
Hey, man.
So I appreciate you guys. Hey, so I want to say a few things. First and foremost, regardless of what we say in the banter, he was a human being. He had a family. He cared for the city and the team. And my condolences to him. I mean, all the banter. He wanted the best for the team. He made decisions to win championships. He couldn't control the players. He can't control everybody.
Right.
And it shows a testament to his personality that he stuck with AJ Preller. What a great human being to give Preller this much time and to say, you know what, I'm going to give you more time. It shows that he cares about his employees, not that he wasn't aware of what Preller wasn't doing. He wanted to give him a chance. So condolences to him. I think we're going to recover, and we're going to be stronger for it. And I appreciate you guys all.
John, thank you. All right, more of your reaction, our collective reaction on a terribly sad day for San Diegans, for the city, for the baseball community, Peter Seidler's family, Padres fans, for a lot of people. 844-570-1360. Peter Seidler, Padres owner and chairman, passing at the age of 63. It's Jon and Jim. All right. Hey, guys, it is Schaefer. I've been telling you for a long time now about our friends over at Windmill Farms, family-owned, San Diegans. Their owner, Trevor, his mom, they've been in the grocery business for 20-plus years. This is your spot. Whatever you need, they've got it for you at Windmill Farms. During the work week with their sandwiches at the deli, it's a spectacular deli. Your 8th sandwich is free. They keep their prices so low. They take so much pride in keeping their prices low. They take so much pride in using the best possible ingredients as well. So go there for your lunch during your work week, and of course, to get ready for your weekends as well. Your game day needs, you're watching games on the couch, you're tailgating. Check them out over at Windmill Farms, the college area's natural grocer. They've got you covered for all your game day needs, organic farm fresh produce and meats, amazing beer selection, craft beers, kombuchas, and more. The deli I've been telling you about with the award-winning sandwiches, centrally located off Del Cerro Boulevard across the freeway from Montezuma Mesa. Windmill Farms is family-owned, serving San Diegans for 20-plus years. If you don't live or work near Del Cerro, no problem. You can find Windmill Farms on Instacart, have your groceries delivered directly to your doorstep as well. Check them out for weekly specials. By the way, at windmillfarmsmarket.com. They support local businesses, which is important, from Harris Ranch to Mr. G's Salsa and many more. Windmillfarmsmarket.com. Shop local. Shop at Windmill Farms. All right, you Darvish at this hour paying his respects to Peter Seidler and his family at Petco Park. Yeah, Petco Park is open until midnight tonight. Parking is free. If you'd like to pay your respects, it's open again tomorrow. Kevin Acey reporting today that the Padres will basically halt non-essential activity until next week as they honor their chairman and owner. Kevin also reporting they expect to name their manager once they resume activity at some point within the next week. There'll be time for that, obviously. But again, if you want to go to Petco Park, if you want to weigh in, if you've been listening to us this afternoon, Darren Smith, Jon and Jim, you feel like you need an outlet, you just want to talk to someone about it, 844-570-1360. You can call us. We are here for you, however you're dealing with this. 844-570-1360. You can also text us, 70470. Start your message with team. Always surreal, a sudden passing. You mentioned that earlier. It is surreal. Some people, like, to process it, it could take a second.
Yeah.
It could take a minute. It could take a year. It could take a life. So, like, everyone processes it differently. It is weird. Again, when I saw it on my phone, that's a weird way to process death. Oh, really? Like, you're just scrolling. And we're in this culture where all we do is scroll.
Yeah.
It's just a weird way to process it. So, doing stuff like this, talking about it for 3 hours is probably good. So, if you want to talk about it with us, we are here for you. 844-570-1360.
Seeing Yu Darvish and his wife go pay their respects down at Petco Park, that gets you, dude. Like that like, you know, knowing in Japanese culture, like paying respects and just, you know, what Yu Darvish did there, like it gets you, man. It gets you. And Yu Darvish tweeted out earlier today, "My heart hurts with the unfortunate news of Peter Seidler's passing. I'm sure everyone that knew him would agree with me that when I say Peter was a truly wonderful human being and being in his presence was always a blessing. He was a teacher of life and taught me countless lessons from all the interactions we had. May his beautiful soul rest in peace." Like that gets you. Like as a human being, that gets you because Peter had a special relationship with everybody. Anybody you talk to about Peter Seidler that had any interaction with Peter Seidler, you couldn't find one person to say a bad word about Peter.
Right.
Like literally not one person. He was, no question. I met him a couple times. I talked to him a couple times. Just the nicest human being ever. You would hear from everybody that knew Peter well. He was the most optimistic person I've ever met in my entire life. Like by far.
I mean, look at his quotes about the franchise.
Like easily the most heartfelt, optimistic to his core person. And that's what I just keep going back to today is that the optimism that he exuded as a person about everything in life. I wish I could be like that.
Right.
I wish I could be like that. Like I'm not even anywhere close to that type of person. I have a cynical mindset at times. I can be optimistic, sure, but not about literally everything in life. Everything in life that Peter viewed, he had an optimistic outlook on.
Yeah.
And that's something that, you know, if you're going to be remembered for something, if you're remembered for your optimistic outlook and always being positive about life, man, that is a great thing to be remembered as and to be known as.
Yeah, like you think about some people, you don't even need to. The legacy is the legacy.
Yeah,
like you just say Peter Seidler. What else do you have to really say when you think about his impact on the Padres, San Diego, sports, and the community? Like it goes without saying. I haven't seen the obituary in the Union Tribune. I assume there is one.
I know Kevin wrote
an obituary.
He wrote a piece on
his
Peter
passing.
On his passing, but it's not an obituary.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. But here's the thing. The obituary, we all have different feelings on, like you're going to remember Peter for one thing, and I'm going to remember Peter for another. But all you have to say is Peter Seidler.
Yep.
Like in this city, that's going to last a long, long time. And I don't think anyone was kidding when he said his legacy is going to last for generations.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't. And I think when the city does win a championship, which is coming, a lot of people are going to be thinking about Peter Seidler. Whenever it is. If it's 2024, amazing. If it's 2044, whenever it is, a lot of people are going to be thinking about Peter Seidler.
Yeah, his legacy as the owner of the Padres is more than winning.
Yeah,
like,
no doubt.
It's more than that. he took a franchise that was a team that everyone viewed as the little Padres over there in the
Right.
corner, just whatever in San Diego, flipped it on its head and put them at the big boy table and made them a real talking point, a real contender, whether they accomplished their goals or not. He put them in a position to win. He wanted to win as badly as anybody. Like, you can find the most diehard Padres fan out there. Guarantee you, Peter Seidler is wanted to win more than anybody that you knew that rooted for the Padres. And that's what made him so special, is that he just, in his heart, he wanted to win so badly, not just for himself and the Padres organization, because they've never won a World Series, but for the fans. He wanted the fans to experience winning. And when they, in his words, slayed the dragon last year in the NLDS, the one, by the way, I loved how Peter never referred to the Dodgers as the Dodgers. He always referred to them as the team up north. And that's a fan right there. That's a fan talking. The team up north, yeah, that you just love that about him.
Couple of texts have rolled in, actually a lot of texts. We can get to a few of them. 70470 started with team 858 saying, thank you guys for turning the show over to the callers and the texters. Rest in peace, Peter. What a devastating loss. And again, we can get to all of your texts here today. 70470, start your message with team. Again, 70470, start your message with team. Devastating loss for the city of San Diego, for Padres fans, for the Seidler family, for our community. We are here to react to it with you over the next couple of hours. We're here until 6 p.m. We'd love to hear from you. If you want to talk to someone about this, death is not easy. We are here for you. 844-570-1360. Again, 844-570-1360. Peter Seidler, chairman and owner of the San Diego Padres, dead at the age of 63. This is Jon and Jim.
All right, this update's brought to you by AutoZone. Of course, the news of the day, the passing of Padres owner and chairman Peter Seidler at the age of 63. Tonight we have Aztecs basketball as they take on Long Beach State, 7 p.m. tip-off. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Starting Stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
All right, hour 2, Jon and Jim with you until 6 p.m. We'd love to hear from you. We have been reacting to how you feel about this news, your memories, your condolences, your thoughts, your prayers. If you want to weigh in on Peter Seidler's passing, 844-570-1360. We're here until 6 p.m. 844-570-1360. As Jim said, Aztec basketball coming up tonight at 7. Pregame coverage will begin at 6. Also, the text line, 70470. You can start your message with team. Again, 70470. Start your message with team. Petco Park is open right now at this hour. If you would like to pay your respects to Peter and his family, you can do that at Petco Park. It is open until midnight tonight. Parking is free. It'll once again open tomorrow in the morning at 6 a.m. from 6 a.m. to midnight tomorrow. So if you'd like to pay your respects to Peter Seidler and his family, you can do so at Petco Park and give us a call if you want to talk about it. 844-570-1360.
Yeah, it's like, when these things happen, it's like a full stop. Like nothing else matters, right? Like nobody, the manager search, the GM issue, the roster, it doesn't matter. It's all about, Peter Seidler and what he meant to this city, what he meant to the Padres, the fan base, and his family, and the organizations that he was a part of, the Lucky Duck Foundation, dealing with the homeless problems in San Diego. He was very passionate about that. And the time for thinking about the future of the Padres will come, but it won't be today. And you see Petco Park, I'm sure there's going to be tons and tons of fans there, because what Peter did was he kind of woke up a sleeping giant when you think about it. Like before 2020, yes, they signed Manny Machado. He was a part of that. Peter was a part of that the first time around. But for a decade, it was the little old Padres. And Peter had a passion for the fan base, for the city, to want to have it see a winner. And at the time when the Chargers left, he thought first and foremost about the fan base and how they deserved better and they deserved to see a winner. And everything that he did was trying to accomplish that. And I think what he accomplished here is something that should be praised, should be, just viewed in the highest of light, because this owner of this team was more than just an owner. He brought excitement to this city. He brought the fans to their feet with every signing, with every big new move that happened. And he gave every single fan the idea and hope that anything was possible.
Right. Like, say this out loud. Juan Soto, Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., Xander Bogaerts are all on the Padres. Yeah. And I remember when they traded for Juan Soto saying specifically that day,
thank you, Peter.
That and this is fleeting.
Yeah.
This group of players, now we couldn't guarantee a title or how they play, but give me a break. In the history of the Padres, in the history of baseball, when has a team had so much star power? That doesn't happen by accident. It happens because that was the action they took. This is the path they took, because any other path in the history of the franchise has come up with failure. Nothing. They had never won. Okay. They had never won. And they're still, looking for that.
Yeah.
They're still looking for the title. But one thing Peter Seidler did that other owners didn't necessarily do was actually act by, not just words, but by actually doing it. $253 million payroll. Again, give me a joke. Only behind the New York Mets and the New York Yankees. I think that's right. Mets and Yankees last year were 1-2.
Yeah.
The New York Mets and the New York Yankees, population 12 million, New York proper. Media market number 1. Owners with unlimited resources and money. We're talking about the Steinbrenners. You're talking about Steve Cohen, among the richest owners in the history of sports. And Peter Seidler's right there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an amazing accomplishment in itself. Now, you can't guarantee anything in life. We know that. There are no guarantees in life. And, we'll see what happens on the other side of it. But you can't fault them for trying. And they really did actively, truly try to win. And he deserves a ton of credit for that. I think he's going to be remembered as a winner on field. I think he's remembered as a winner. In San Diego, I think he's remembered as like a humanitarian, like as a civic leader, as someone that actually represented the community proudly and honorably. But from a prism of the Padres, which is why people tune into us every single day, the prism of the Padres, they don't typically tune into us to talk homelessness. We could if you want. They don't typically tune into us to talk about the community. They could, we can if you want. From a prism of the Padres, how could he ever be faulted?
And why I think a lot of Padres fans, I think all Padres fans are hurting today, not only because Peter Seidler is now gone, which is just crazy to even say, that I think everybody knows in their heart of hearts, I don't know if we're going to get the next person in here that will be like Peter. Like, I just don't think you can, Peter's one of one. He was one of one. He cared about winning over spending money. Like he spent the money because he wanted to win so badly. You see a lot of owners around not spend the money because they want to have that money in their pockets and thinking that they can do that while also trying to sneak in some winning. Peter took the unconventional wisdom, flipped it on its head, and said, look, I'm doing this because I want to win for the fans. I want the fans to experience a parade. This town deserves a parade. And going forward, you're like, man, I don't know. We're never gonna have Peter Seidler, another Peter Seidler. Like, it's just, he is a one of one person. He's a one of one owner. Did it all work out beautifully? No. But guess what? He took the Padres and he elevated them to a place that he thought they deserved to be, and he thought that the fan base deserved to have them. And that's why this is so tough today is from a fan's perspective, you're thinking about that he is the best owner that we've ever had for any sport in this town. And to lose him at such a young age of 63 is devastating.
844-570-1360. If you want to provide your thoughts on the passing of Peter Seidler, we'd love to hear from you. 844-570-1360. You're right. And we don't know today.
We don't know
what tomorrow looks like, and we probably won't find out tomorrow either.
No.
And to your point, he's one of one. So he's not going to be replicated, even if it stays in his family. It's, like we said, moment in time stuff. And I think living through it in San Diego, you kind of felt it. Maybe you've been a Padres fan your whole life. Maybe you moved to San Diego 5 years ago, but you kind of realized what the Padres were doing, to your point, was unconventional.
He said, F it. I'm going to do things a totally different way. I don't care what people say about me.
Right. Against the grain.
Yeah.
Not in ways that franchises typically operate. I think I started the show or said earlier, maybe in the 3 o'clock hour, like, everyone is put in their place at some point in life. Right. And you kind of fight through it. Like, somebody tells you when you're young, oh, you're not good at that. You should do this. Oh, you can't play drums. You can't play basketball. You can't go to college. You can't get that job. You get told no so much. And then sometimes you break through. It's like, everyone wants to box the Padres, a small market. How many times have you heard over the years if you lived in San Diego? San Diego's a small market. If they're going to win, they have to do so by developing prospects, and they're not going to sign big-time free agents, and they're never going to be the Dodgers. And they're never going to be the Yankees. I mean, that's like the story of the San Diego Padres. It's like the story of the city of San Diego. And Peter Seidler did change that script. Now, I don't know what it looks like on the other side, but That's an amazing accomplishment. It really is an amazing accomplishment to put this organization in a spot where he put this organization over the last handful of years.
Mm-hmm. It's such a gut punch, man. It really is, because when he said and he meant it, like, this is the decade of the Padres, and
A decade's not over.
no, it's not over. And hopefully the baseball gods, as he says, shines bright on the San Diego Padres, and there will be a parade. We will all know, like, Peter started this. He started the unconventionalness of, quote unquote, like you said, small market team spending the big money. And it's not just about spending the big money. It's that he cared so deeply for everybody and everything. I heard today on Darren, someone texted in, it's a great point. And, for all of my thoughts on AJ Preller as a general manager, as a human being, I'm sure that his relationship with Peter was a relationship that really nobody could really look at and say that it wasn't anything other than two people like joined at the hip. And so you're feeling for everybody in the organization today, especially AJ Preller, who had the 100% backing, no matter what, of Peter. And that's what made Peter such a unique person, is that through adversity, that things would be better and things would change. And for AJ as a person today, I'm sure he lost more than just a colleague. I'm sure he lost more than just an owner. This is somebody that was in his corner more than anybody. And so you feel for everybody in the organization today. You feel for Manny Machado, who I haven't seen publicly say anything, which is fine. I'm sure that a lot of people deal with grief in their own way, and that is 100% they're doing. I'm sure we're going to hear something from Manny soon, but the relationship that Manny had with Peter was one of one. And, you can't replace those types of relationships with just any person. You can't. And that's what makes it so difficult, is that those people that I just mentioned, AJ and Manny, lost somebody that was extremely important to them.
Peter will not be defined by his optimistic quotes about the organization. Like when I think back to his real last public comments, the AJ's excellence, that's not defining Peter Seidler. If anything, it's just speaking on his positive view on life, right? The AJ's excellence. I believe in stability. I think we can still win despite the fact that we're wherever we were. I mean, the Padres July 1st were 9-10 games over 500. Yeah. People had written them off. Not Peter Seidler. He thought they could still make a run. Truth be told, the Padres finished like a game out of the postseason.
They were two games out
of the postseason. But yeah, he's not going to be defined by that. I mean, it was a big deal in the moment. I mean, that was a huge deal. AJ's excellence. How could he be so positive, and how could he have this type of outlook? Well, because maybe he's a cancer survivor. Because maybe he realizes time is fleeting. Because maybe he truly believed. Like, those are all good qualities. To your point, we're all cynics at heart. Maybe not everyone, but a lot of people are cynics at heart, especially in what we do for a living. It's so easy. It's easy to be cynical. It's hard not to be. It's hard to be optimistic. It's like human nature is to be cynical. In San Diego, it is absolutely human nature to be to be cynical, because look at the history of the franchise. They've all lost. Nobody's ever won. Yet he had a different view on things, and it's fascinating. He will be missed dearly, and the organization will not be the same. That I know. The organization may win 5 World Series the next 10 years. It may never win a World Series. The organization will never be the same. It's a huge loss for the Padres. It's a huge loss for the city. And it's a time for mourning and grief. And that's what's going on right now at Petco Park in the city. And our text line, callers at 844-570-1360.
619 number. By the way, if you want to text in 70470, start your message with team. 619 number says, RIP Peter Seidler. My condolences to his family and friends. He was the people's owner that gave us fans hope to bring civic pride and to one day, hopefully soon, bring San Diego its first World Series championship. Contributions and dedication to the San Diego Padres and the community will never be forgotten. Perfectly said. He's more than just the owner of the team. He's more than just the man that wrote the checks. He was the people's owner, as the
Yeah, I like that.
619 number says. I love that phrasing there. He was a fan. He rooted for this team deep. He wanted them to win more than anybody. He cared about the people that he had in the organization. He cared about everybody that he brought through into San Diego. Um, and like I said today, like you won't find a person out there that has something negative to say about Peter because he just was the most optimistic, positive person that you'll know.
First day I ever walked into Petco Park, there was no one there.
What day was
Okay,
that?
so when 2016,
Okay.
summer 2016, there's nobody there.
Mhm.
Okay, I mean nobody. There's nobody there. There's like no one there. I'm 8,000 people. It's an
So it must have
August
been like
game
a
against the Phillies.
Wednesday afternoon?
No, it was a night. There's no one there. To go from that to what's transpired here, they draw without winning. I mean, they drew last year 3.2 million fans without winning, which is a credit to Peter, right? I mean, everyone was hoping and wishing, but this was a franchise that was like, I mean, come on, 10 years ago, what did the Padres mean in San Diego 10 years ago? Like everything's changed and shifted. NFL is no longer here, drawing 10, 15,000 people at Petco Park, beautiful ballpark in the middle of the summer, mired in a season-long slump, 20 games under 500, a lot of 70 and 92 finishes, right? Never 50 and 110, but a lot of 70 and 92, not recognizable names, right? Not Manny Machado, not Juan Soto, and then he turns it on its head. Chargers leave Peter Seidler's ownership tenure, and really everything changed. I mean, imagine that. Like, I'm trying to think of another example of a professional sports team that would have that type of like resurgence in a short period of time. You were there, you were working for the Padres Radio Network. Now, I'm not kidding when I say there were thousands of people there. Am I kidding? There were nights with 8,000 people there.
Yeah, there was a lot of nights
A
with it.
lot of nights.
Not a lot of people there.
A lot of nights. And now there's nights against the Colorado Rockies on a Tuesday, and there's 43,000 people there.
Mhm. And that's because of Peter, his vision. He wanted to make San Diego a big market team in the so-called small market area. He wanted to give the fan base the best players to root for. He wanted to give them excitement. He wanted to give everybody when they went to Petco Park. Do you know who I saw tonight? I saw Manny Machado. I saw Fernando Tatis Jr. I saw Juan Soto. I saw you, Darvish, Joe Musgrove. Peter had that vision of creating an atmosphere at Petco that was an atmosphere that would make you excited. And when you left, you wanted to go back again. You want to go back again to see these players and he really wanted to have. That's why a lot of players have signed these long-term contracts because he didn't want it to be just 1-year things. He wanted these fans to grow up, the young fans, and live out the entirety of Manny Machado's career and Xander Bogaerts' career and Fernando Tatis Jr.'s career. Like he loved the 10-year contract. He loved to have the fans know that they get to root for these Hall of Fame type of players for not just 1 year, but for many years to come.
Yeah, I just can't think of a brand that's like had a like think the Padres brand has been so drastically altered under Peter Seidler's watch. I mean, it's really amazing. The Padres resurgence, and you're drawing the most fans in the history of Petco Park in the 20-something year, like year 20 whatever at Petco. It's the best year ever at the box office. 844-570-1360. Marco Schraub with Jon and Jim. Thanks for calling in.
Hey guys, how you guys doing today?
How are you, man?
I know it's a tough day for all San Diego fans, but I've called into the show a handful of times over a couple of years, and I've always kind of had optimistic takes on stuff. But man, I don't hold a candle to Peter Seidler. He was just the ultimate optimist. He just believed that anything was possible, and it just. He came in at a time when San Diego was hurting from the Chargers leaving, and not only was he a great man in his own right, but he was the anti-Dean Spanos that San Diegans wanted to rally around because he was the complete opposite of Dean, and really made San Diego feel special instead of the way that Dean ended up making us feel. And it just, it hurts And I hope that his family is doing okay. I hope the whole Padres organization is going to be okay. But thoughts and prayers out to them. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Marcos.
Thanks, Marcos. He's right. He is at the time in this city's history when the Chargers and Dean Spanos and they left 2016.
That's what I'm saying.
This town had a massive, massive, and the Padres were the only other major sports team in town. And you're wondering how are we going to fill this hole? The Padres, right? The Padres have a chance here to really take this opportunity and run with it. And that's exactly what Peter did, and exactly what this organization did with the signing of Eric Hosmer, first off, starting the run of making big moves, big acquisitions, and then signing Manny Machado the following year. And that was Peter had a huge part of it. And he knew, he didn't just become this sports fan. Like he's always been a sports fan. And baseball has been like that. Peter's his blood. His blood is O'Malley family. Like that is what Peter grew up doing is watching baseball and loving baseball. And he knew how much baseball means to a community, how much sports mean to a community. Baseball is the national pastime. It's the sport that's every day in the summertime. It feels like it's America's type of game. I know football is the big thing, right? But as far as baseball, it's every day.
Right.
It's like it's a love that you deal with the roller coaster every single day, ups and downs throughout a baseball season, 6 months out of the year. It's every single day, every night. And Peter knew how much the fans deserved to experience winning and excitement with the Chargers left, and he filled that hole. Now, that hole is completely full with the Padres, I feel like.
No, I agree with you. I mean, this was not an overnight thing.
No.
In 2017, the year after the Chargers had left, the Padres were not drawing. This was before Hosmer. This is I'd have to look it up, 69 to 93 season, 71 to 91 season, 73 and 89, something like that. They were irrelevant.
Yeah.
They weren't drawing. This wasn't a guarantee, is my point. It couldn't have been anyone to own the club, but the Chargers are gone. Therefore, they're just going to be a box office hit. It was inevitable post-Chargers that San Diegans would rally around the Padres. No, you got to earn it. You got to earn it. You got to try. And they invested heavily in it over a period of time. And look at the end result. Again, not a title yet. Look at the way San Diegans have rallied around the Padres. 3.2 million fans. It's considered as good of a baseball market now as there is. I've said that repeatedly. San Diego has become a year-round baseball market. Who envisioned it? San Diego is a year-round baseball market. We can thank Peter Seidler for that. All right, we're going to continue to react to it. Your text, 70470, started with team. If you want to call and offer your condolences, thoughts on the passing of Padres chairman Peter Seidler, 844-570-1360. We'd love to hear from you, 844-570-1360. Peter Seidler passes at the age of 63. It's Jon and Jim. All right, we've been telling you about, of course, San Diego, among the more expensive places to live in the country, right? You've been reading about that. Well, the year's almost over. You might need cash for the holidays, or maybe you want to be credit card debt free for the new year. Call Loan Pronto today. Their Express Equity line of credit can get you $20, $50, $100,000 in as little as 5 days. You've got a ton of equity in your home, and Loan Pronto can help you turn that equity into cash. You can access up to 95% of your home's value. Use the money to pay off all your credit cards, pay off personal loans. Maybe you want to do a home improvement project, add solar panels, whatever it is. You can get the money you need now and still keep your primary mortgage intact. So your 3% rate is protected. And with Loan Pronto's Express Equity Line program, 90% of the time, there's no need for an appraisal. You can get your money super fast, get the holiday cash you need, pay off all those credit cards before the new year. Get yourself on solid financial footing before the year ends by calling Loan Pronto, 619-207-4336. Write this down. 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com. That's 619-207-4336. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
All right, this update is brought to you by AutoZone. Of course, the news of the day, the sudden passing of Padres owner and chairman Peter Seidler at the age of 63. And tonight, Aztecs take on Long Beach State at Viejas Arena. 7 p.m. tip-off. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Yeah, we put Trainwreck Radio to the side today. Giveaways, the wrap, Jim's back page. I'm sure you're waiting for that big like Star Wars collectible auction and how much R2D2 sold for. But we're talking about Peter Seidler's passing today, and a lot of people want to weigh in on it. 844-570-1360, 70470. Started with team. So let's go back to the phones. We've heard from a lot of you today. We want to hear from you. We're with you until 6 o'clock. If you want to offer your condolences, thoughts, whatever is on your mind as you deal with this tragic news, 844-570-1360. Let's start with Doug on line one. And Doug, you're on with Jon and Jim. Thanks for calling, Doug.
Hey there. How you guys doing?
Hanging in, man.
Hanging in there.
Good deal. I appreciate what you guys do for the community. I always love hearing your opinions. I think you guys do a wonderful service for the community. On the promo just a second ago, it brought up the connection that a lot of people may not realize that Peter Seidler had with one of the most impressive and successful sports ownership franchises in any sport of all time, which was the O'Malley family.
Mm-hmm.
Walter O'Malley, of course, was responsible for moving the Dodgers and ultimately the Giants to California. And his son, Peter, took over the Dodgers from Walter. And Peter, whose namesake actually comes from Peter O'Malley, learned at his knee. And the philosophy, the outlook, the honesty, the family environment that he instilled in the Dodgers and made them the success that they have been also helped him bring the San Diego Padres into the spotlight and learn how to be a winning organization, not just a business, but something that the players and the ownership group, the community could get behind and really bask in, as opposed to just having a business for a baseball team. It became a family environment, and I think it's really nurtured the ball club over the course of his ownership.
Great call, Doug.
Thanks for the call, Doug. Yeah, this was not just like a project for Peter,
Right?
Like, this wasn't just, oh, I'll dip my water in the baseball world. Like, this was something that he desperately loved and cared for, and the passion that he had for the fans, and him being a fan himself. And I see on the chat on YouTube, by the way, if you want to check us out on YouTube, go check us out there at Jon Jim 760. But Leon says it perfectly, and I think this is what a lot of fans are feeling today. It hurts because of how much Peter cared.
Right.
Because you knew and how much Peter cared about you, the fan, and the team. And when you have that just quality from an owner of your favorite team, man, sky's the limit. You might never get there. You might never get to the mountaintop. But at least that the team is in good hands, and that your favorite team in the franchise that you root for, is in good hands with somebody who cares so much about it.
I would also say this is pretty amazing that he's going to be remembered for playing this huge role in the history of San Diego sports and the San Diego community as the grandson of Walter O'Malley. It's a very interesting point, right? I mean, the ties to the Dodgers are legitimate and real.
Yeah.
Yet he will be remembered for, this is a 10-year period. This group came together in 2012, and we're not even into 2024. It's 11 years since they purchased the club, the O'Malley Group.
And just 4 years of him
as
being
primary
the primary
owner. But
Yeah.
he's remembered as a San Diegan, right? All right, 844-570-1360. Let's go to Michael on line 5. Again, if you want to weigh in on the passing of Peter Seidler, we'd love to hear from you. 844-570-1360. Michael, you're on with Jon and Jim. Thank you.
Hi, Jon and Jim. Thank you for taking the call.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a sad day. What a sad day. I couldn't believe I was at a doctor's office earlier this afternoon when I seen my phone on Facebook, and it's, I knew he was sick, but that's a horrible loss for San Diego and the community. He did everything he could to put a winner on the field. I mean, he would have went out and played if that's what it meant, to trying to get a ring for everybody. But condolences to the Seidler family and the Padre family and everybody in San Diego. And I hope everybody heals from this. It's going to take a little time, but God bless everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Michael.
Can I say this? Earlier today, I went over to San Diego State, and I was sitting outside. This is before I came across the tweet from the Padres that Peter Seidler had passed. And I'm sitting outside. I'm like, what a spectacular day. I'm thinking to myself, to live in San Diego, not a cloud in the sky might change this week. It's 72 degrees. It's so spectacular.
Mhm.
Sometimes you just take things for granted, like health.
Yeah.
We all do it from time to time. How many people live their lives like everything is impactful and everything has meaning, and it could be your last day? How many times have you heard that? And you've heard people say this. When you're on your deathbed, are you gonna be saying, man, I wish I, worked another shift? Man, I wish which you're gonna want to be remembered for what you want to be remembered for.
Mhm.
Like you're not gonna want to like waste your days. It's easy to say, but it's just, I don't know. It's just everyone takes life for granted until you can't, right? There's nothing more important than health, and you can't buy it. And it's just terribly sad. But again, from Peter's perspective, like, I feel like he lived his time as owner like he had something to get done quickly because he had gone through experiences where life could have been taken from him
Right.
with his battles with cancer previously in his life. Now, by the way, his passing and his reason for passing remains a personal matter
Yes.
per his family. But when you go through cancer and survive it and live to see another day, I just feel like you have a different perspective. I haven't gone through that. There's days, I'll be honest with you. Jim talked about before one day he took 6 steps. When you know what I mean? Like everyone, who hasn't sat on the couch all day
Right.
and watched 13 consecutive hours of football
just not
and
move.
eating Cheetos?
Yeah.
But there's something to be said for like trying to accomplish something every single day. Easier said than done, but I just feel like the way Peter Seidler ran the Padres, like, yo, I got work to do.
He never played it safe. He never sat there and thought about saving a buck. He never thought, like, yes, he did obviously have to run the Padres like a business. I mean, it wasn't like he just couldn't do whatever and not pay bills. Like, yes, we all like being the owner of a team, like by definition is a business.
Sure.
But he ran it like you said, he wanted to accomplish things and he wasn't scared to take risks and he wasn't scared to push the norm and he was not scared to flip things on its head and he wasn't scared of what other owners thought about him and he didn't care about anybody else other than the fan base here in San Diego and bringing a championship to the Padres. Like that is the only thing that he cared about when it came to San Diego and when it came to the Padres, excuse me, not just San Diego, but the Padres was one, how do I get the fan base a championship and a parade? And two, how do I get the best players I possibly can get to make sure the fans are rewarded every single time they come to the ballpark?
Well, to your point, 303, like, it's not like this everywhere. He says, take it from a Rockies fan who has watched the most apathetic and money-oriented been around. Tell you, they don't know excuse me, that you don't know how lucky you were and what you lost today. The tributes I'm hearing about this guy are amazing. Yeah, it's not always like this. I mean, Padres payroll in 2016 was like, what was the Padres payroll in like 2010?
Wasn't this?
I mean, not this. It was like
No.
28th in baseball. So again, he turned this thing around. We'll see what the other side looks like. Today's about remembering Peter Seidler's legacy in San Diego on the Padres in our community. We're reacting to the news, the passing of Peter Seidler at the age of 63. We would love to hear from you if you'd like to offer your condolences, thoughts, share a story. Just talk to someone. 844-570-1360. 844-570-1360. You can text us 70470. Start it with team. It's Jon and Jim. All right, we're reacting to the passing of Peter Seidler, Padres owner and chairman at the age of 63. We'd love to hear from you. 844-570-1360, 844-570-1360, 70470. You can start your message with TES. All right, Jon and Jim with you until 6 p.m. on this Tuesday afternoon. Peter Seidler's passing, of course, the story of the day. Talking about it all day long. Your calls, your texts, your memories, our thoughts. Just a terribly sad day, devastating day. Nobody ever expects news like that. You just don't.
No.
You just don't expect news like that. We knew there was a statement from the Padres in previous weeks talking about him dealing with a health situation, but you never expect something like this. And now that day has come where Petco Park is open for a public memorial. If you'd like to pay your honor, tribute, condolences to Peter and his family, you can go to Petco Park. It's open tonight until midnight. Parking is free. You can go back tomorrow from 6 a.m. to midnight as well. If you want to react, if you want to share thoughts, if you just need someone to talk to about this, we'd love to talk to you about it. 844-570-1360. Again, 844-570-1360 or 70470. Start your message with team. The off season, obviously for the Padres, underway, and just terribly, terribly sad news for Padres organization, for their fans. It's something we're going to be reacting to, obviously, all week long.
And as the season went on, the AJ's excellence, I guess, piece from
Yep.
middle of the year, and then going on and not really hearing much from Peter, kind of asking the question, like, where's Peter at?
Right.
Anybody know where Peter's at? The year, hearing about his health and um, him being absent and saying, look, I'm not going to be able to be at the end of the season. Fans deserve more than this. And, I look forward to being with you back next year. And then the end of the season happened. Like, nobody truly knew. Like, I'm sure there are people on the inside that knew what was going on, and people close to Peter, obviously. But just seeing this happen and play out, this was a shock to me.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it shocked everybody. Nobody knew that this was going to be the final outcome here of Peter's health issues. every time talking about Peter Seidler, it was, look, the most important thing right now with Peter is his health. You got to make sure that your health is the number one thing you focus on.
Sure.
And then after that, then we talk about team and everything. But the shock of today, I don't think it's really fully hit me. I don't know if it's hit a lot of fans yet. I'm sure a lot of people were kind of thinking like, wait, what? Like, I know he was sick, but I don't know if anybody thought truly like this was going to be the outcome. And that's what makes today so shocking is like, oh man, just to have this be what happened today. It punches you in the gut. It absolutely punches you in the gut.
You know what's amazing? He only became primary owner in November of 2020.
Right.
35 months ago. Less than 3 years.
Mhm.
He was primary owner of the Padres for 35 months.
Yeah.
Think about the moves, signings, trades, under his direction, with his resources, unlike anyone in the history of the organization. Like, to make that impact in 35 months? Are you kidding? Again, representing ownership in some capacity since 2012, but that's not a lifetime.
No.
It's a decade-long period. But to have this type of impact when you've owned something for a decade and you've been responsible for it as the primary owner for 35 months, like, his 3 years as owner, Jim,
Mhm.
1 in a 100-year collapse, NLCS, disappointing 2023. Yet the impact is enormous. Think about that. 1 in a 100-year collapse, NLCS, disappointing 2023. That's amazing. The
Mm.
impact he made by, again, I think people recognizing what he was trying to accomplish. We've been there before in life. You try to do it the right way. You do everything in your power to succeed, and it doesn't always work out the way you wish it to work out. And I think that was, to some extent, a little bit with Peter's ownership over the last 3 years. He did everything he possibly could do to bring a winner to San Diego. Didn't work out perfectly, but that's not because of him. If anything, he deserved more than what the on-field product was over the last 3 years. I think that's very fair.
Yeah, he did. That's why we're filled with a lot of different emotions today. And I think if you want to be angry, you can be angry, right? Like you can be sad, you can be every type of emotion you want to feel as a fan. You can feel today because you know that somebody special is now gone. The owner of the team is gone, and the uncertainty of the franchise is now here in a huge way. And it's heartbreaking to know that Peter's not going to be here anymore because you thought decade of the Padres, he'll be at the parade holding the trophy. Fans are chanting his name. I mean, people are already chanting his name at Petco Park. You know, we see people wear Peter Seidler jerseys.
Yeah.
You know, it's like this guy has changed San Diego sports for the better.
A classic example of like quality over quantity. Classic example to make an impact in a period of time that, again, is not really a million years. A primary owner of the Padres for 3 years,
Mhm.
and again, part of this ownership group since 2012, and the impact will be felt for generations. Let's go back to the phones. 844-570-1360. John, you're on with Jon and Jim, and thanks for calling in.
I actually work with hospice, and I wanted to just chime in a little bit about one of the things I noticed about Seidler as he was going on. I could tell he was pretty beat down by a lot of the medical things he's had going on, but he definitely seemed like one of the people who makes the choice to keep living and embody that as best he could. And I know that much of the way that he reached out to people was something that is very similar to some of the people I've met along the way who actually get a chance to do things while they're still knowing that their life is going to end pretty soon. Being able to actually have a life while you're in that state is something that I think he didn't take advantage. He didn't neglect. He definitely took advantage of. And the stuff that we say about the Padres, that's wonderful and all, but I hope that we can remember that he very much was somebody living for the moment that he had left.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, living for the moment. wanting to do things now, didn't care about the potential ramifications or
Right. Not worried about 2026.
yeah, I'm not worried about that. I want to win now. I want the fans to experience winning now. I want to bring joy to the city. Like that is what Peter Seidler embodied. He wanted to bring joy to San Diego.
Yeah.
I think he did that. I think he accomplished
I
that in a
agree with
huge
you.
way.
I agree.
I think
Despite, again, these last 3 years, not perfect.
no, no,
There was
no.
a great year in there. Beating the Dodgers, NLCS, great year. One of the better years in Padres franchise history. 2 of the years, let's be honest, they weren't great. Yet, Peter Seidler will be remembered for everything he did to bring a winner to San Diego.
I mean, I literally can't. I just thought about this time last year
Mhm.
was when they were like coming off of the NLCS run.
Yeah.
And if you told me last year at this time, by the way, Melvin will be gone, and sadly Peter Seidler will be gone. I just man,
Yeah.
it feels like a lifetime ago.
You're not kidding. You're not kidding. All right, hour 3 of Jon and Jim on the other side. Your reaction to the passing, the sad news today. Peter Seidler gone way too early. At the age of 63, we'd love to hear from you. 844-570-1360. You can text us, 70470. Start it with Team Aztec pregame coverage at 6 p.m. from outside Viejas Arena, San Diego State, Long Beach State tonight at 7. Stay with us on Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by AutoZone. Of course, the news of the day, the sad passing of Padres owner and chairman Peter Seidler, the age of 63. Aztecs basketball tonight, 7 p.m. tip-off against Long Beach State. Of course, you can hear that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Starting Stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone, AutoZone. All right, Jon and Jim, final hour here on San Diego Sports 760. Jon is off to call the Aztecs Long Beach State game tonight for your view, so he's making his way down to Viejas Arena. So for the final hour, it's just me and Brent with you. Again, if you want to call in, 844-570-1360, text in 70470, start your message with team. Today, it's a shocking day for a lot of you out there, most fans. I don't think anybody truly saw this coming that weren't close to Peter. And that's why this day feels so weird. Like it's a weird feeling today. That here on Jon and Jim, we talk about the Padres every day and the moves they're going to make and the moves they don't make, and we're critical when we need to be critical. We praise them when they need to be praised, and we talk about when they lose and they win and all this stuff. But then it just hits you like a ton of bricks that, okay, the owner of the team, and it wasn't just Peter Seidler was more than just the owner of the Padres. He was a man of the people. He was a fan. He cared deeply about this city. He cared deeply about the Padres, and he's gone. And it's just a gut punch. It's something that nobody saw coming. It's something that nobody expected. I know we all knew that he was dealing with health issues, but then to just actually see the news today, you do a double take. You're like, that's not real. Like, no. That just didn't happen. So it's a tough day. It's a tough day for everybody. One tweet that I saw that I thought was a really good tweet said, Peter Seidler was a legend. Guy cut massive checks, hung around the ballpark like a regular dude. He ran the Padres like a diehard 300 level season ticket holder that hit the Powerball lottery. It's a shame more owners don't care the way he did. It was awesome. That's who Peter was. He was just he was a regular guy. He would walk into a room, wasn't dressed to the nines, wasn't a guy that seemed like he felt like he was better than everybody else, even though he was a billionaire. He was just a regular person that cared deeply for San Diego, cared deeply for the Padres, cared deeply for the homeless problem here in San Diego. You know, he mentioned to Kevin Acee earlier this year, he's like, look, I don't get mad about this stuff. Like the Padres losing games, like that doesn't make me mad. What makes me mad is when somebody is mean to somebody on the side, there's a homeless person on the side of the street. When somebody's mean to a homeless person or mean to somebody, that makes me upset. Not winning and losing games. Like those things matter, but it's not the end all be all. And he did everything possible to make sure that the team could win. And so it's just a massive loss today. It just is. 760 number says, I had tears of joy a year ago, and now I'm in tears of sorrow. Peter's with God now. May he rest in peace. San Diego will always love you. That's true. I mean, San Diego will never, ever forget Peter Seidler and what he did for this town, what he did for the community, what he did for the Padres. He took the Padres and he flipped it on its head. Everybody didn't think the Padres could be a big time spender. And everybody didn't think the Padres could have, these big time free agents come here. And he said, watch what I can do. Hold my beer. And that's what he did. He completely took the norm and said, F it, and flipped it. And I've been getting some of this today. And like, I'll address it. I didn't want to, but I will. 360 number. Says, it's weird to hear Jim praise Seidler, which he should, but after just bashing him for a support of Preller, feels dishonest. Look, Peter Seidler is somebody who would welcome criticism. Okay. Peter Seidler is somebody who would take that criticism and he would welcome it. If anybody thought that, being critical, you can't be critical of somebody, I don't know what to tell you. All right. Peter, number one, first and foremost, when talking about him recently, was about, hey, the health is the most important thing. So if you want to say I was bashing Peter Seidler, you can that if you want to be that person today, go ahead. Okay, I'm not going to stop you. I'm not going to try to argue with you. But if for anybody thinking that being critical of things in the franchise or the organization, that I did it with knowing with the health issues, like you're completely wrong, and I'm sorry, that's just way off base. So if you want to be that person today, go be that person. But I'm going to land on the side of remembering Peter and knowing that he respected people that would push back, and he respected people that would lend criticism for things, and he would take those criticisms and he would listen, and he didn't cry about it, and he didn't get butthurt about it, and he knew that it came with the territory, it came with the job, and I feel like AJ's the same way. Like he knows that, hey, criticize me, okay, like that's not out of the realm. That this is the job that we're in. So be that person if you want. I'm just a couple people on social media have said that today, but you're completely off basis, and you just never listen, because I've praised Peter countless times for things that he's done with the Padres, and as he should. 619 number says it's time to rename the Seidler Square, the Gallagher Square. It's time to name Gallagher Square Seidler Square. Oh, I'm sure that the Padres are already in talks and plans, and as soon as the grieving process is right now, but that there will be things that will be around the ballpark in memory of Peter Seidler. No doubt about it. It's definitely somebody that we can't forget, like you can't forget what Peter did here ever. What Peter did here is pretty much I feel like Peter is the person who started things here in San Diego with the expectation level of this franchise, the being at the big boys table. He started it. He started it, and now it's to take his legacy and continue with it, and don't look backwards but look forward. And that's why today is such a tough day. Not only look, the franchise and the Padres, that's one thing, but you also have to remember Peter Seidler leaves behind a wife and 3 young children, the age of 10, 8, and 3. And his mother is still with us as well. So the Padres and the organization and what they do with their manager, that's all in the back burner. Today, all of our thoughts and all of our prayers are with his family, with his young children, with his wife, with his brothers and sisters. That's where the real focus should be at today, with all of it. So 844-570-1360, 70470. If you want to text in memories or thoughts on Peter. Like one thing that I do see a lot on social media today is a lot of people had interactions with Peter Seidler. A lot of fans did. And that's what makes him so special, is that he would be one of the fans. He would just be walking around the ballpark. A fan would see him, take a picture with him, say hi, how you doing? He'd reach out to people, that in the media and people around town, and he was just very thoughtful and giving, and he was the type of person that would always try to lend a hand and always try to be there for you. That's the vibe that he would give off. And it's just such a great loss today. It's just a massive loss here in San Diego. I can't understate that enough. That going forward, we truly won't feel the gravity and loss of Peter Seidler until down the line. Like today, it's hard to really fathom it and grasp everything that Peter meant to San Diego because it's just so fresh. It just happened today. I mean, the announcement a couple hours ago. But down the line, it's going to be felt. And that's the tough part about this whole thing is that we all know and all the fans know that what he meant to San Diego was just more than the Padres. It just was more than that. Now, the Padres were a huge part of that. But it meant more than just the Padres. And you see things from fans, and I 100% agree that why it hurts so much today is that he cared so much about the fans and the team and the community. And this town has dealt with a lot of really bad owners, a lot of owners that didn't care about the fan base, that didn't care about the community or the team as much as Peter Seidler cared about the community and the team and the fan base. And that's why it hurts so much if you're a fan of the Padres today, is that that Peter was one of one. That it's going to be different. It's going to not be the same. He gave the fans ideas and opportunities to dream bigger than any owner in this town have been able to give the fan base. And going forward, you just don't know what it's going to be like. You don't know. And that's where you're sitting here and you're thinking to yourself, like, man, this is just a horrible, horrible thing that's happened. But eventually over time, you're going to have to move forward. 619 number said, Peter Seidler made the Padres relevant as much as Major League Baseball did not want them to be relevant. He fought the narrative and made them relevant. Rest in peace, Peter Seidler. It's a great point. 619 number. Like, I don't think baseball truly wanted Peter Seidler to be doing the things that he was doing. But he said, screw it. I know that the fans deserve the best. I don't care what the other owners think. I'm going to go out and I'm going to push back against that norm. And he wanted to make the Padres as relevant as could be. And he absolutely did that. He absolutely took the Padres and put them at a position where they've never been before, to be one of the most talked about, for good or bad, relevant franchises in the sport. Just changing everything about the Padres that people knew. Before it was like, the little time Padres. Not anymore. Now, I don't know how it's going to be in the future without Peter here. But while Peter was here and while he was the owner of this team, he did everything in his power from a money standpoint, from a community standpoint, from a whatever business standpoint to make them relevant, regardless of what people had to say about him, regardless of the pushback that he might have gotten from other owners, regardless of the pushback from, outsiders, because Peter could do it. Peter was a guy that didn't just, speak and never back it up. Like, he let his actions speak for him. Actions to him spoke louder than words. And the quote that, I keep going back to, that for me needs to be on the statue whenever that is made is 1 year soon, the baseball gods will smile on the San Diego Padres and we will have a parade. Yeah, that just hits you right there. It just hits you. Because you know how optimistic he was about everything. You know how no matter how bad the situation was, he was going to be that optimistic person in the room. He was going to be the guy that at times people might not have viewed as like, oh, okay, it's Peter being Peter. Maybe he's just too optimistic about things. But that's who he was. And that's for better or for worse. Like that was refreshing. And you hear from people sometimes and they're not that way. They are never optimistic about anything. And as an owner, that kind of was refreshing in a sense that being as optimistic as he was, it made the fan base optimistic. Made the people that loved the Padres always know that their owner was never going to give up, regardless of what anybody says. Regardless of what our stupid media member says about this team, doesn't matter. The owner of the team was always going to be optimistic until the very end. And he was always going to be the person in the room that thought there was a chance, and that is something that will be missed more every single day. Not having that optimistic person in the room to help drive this organization to a place that it's never been to before. And that's what hurts, because he was a fan. He was a fan, and he wanted the best for the team. He wanted the best for the fan base. He wanted the best for the players. And you see it. You saw Darvish Day go and to Petco Park. Someone on social media made a good point. Like, Darvish spends his off seasons in Arizona. I don't think he was in San Diego today. Probably meant the second that he heard the news, he took the first flight to San Diego. And that says all you need to know about Darvish, by the way. Like, say what you want about his pitching, whatever, but I mean, no one has ever questioned Darvish as a person, as a human being, as stand-up guy as you'll ever meet, right? And showing that today, paying respects to Peter down at Petco Park. He also tweeted out earlier today. Let me just find this real quick here. My heart hurts with the unfortunate news of Peter Seidler's passing. I'm sure everyone that knew him would agree with me when I say Peter was a truly wonderful human being, and being in his presence was always a blessing. He was a teacher of life and taught me countless lessons from all the interactions we had. May his beautiful soul rest in peace. It's perfectly put. The human that he was a truly wonderful person. Everybody you talk to, you can't find anybody that says a bad word about Peter, the human. Like, the human being, no one will ever say a bad word, and no one has ever said a bad word about the human being that Peter Seidler is and was. And that's what makes him truly special. He was one of one. He was absolutely one of one. Someone on the text line says that I'm glad that he got to see the fans break an all-time attendance record before he passed away. 2024, hashtag win it for Papa Pete. Yeah, going into next season, it's going to be a tough season because there will be a lot of changes, but it's also going to be tough because the leader of the organization, the leader of the franchise will not be there. The owner of this team, Peter Seidler, was the driving force with the Padres. He was that optimistic force behind the scenes, whether you liked it or not, whether you liked his trust in AJ or not. That's what he was going to do, and that's how he was going to be. So it's just a tough day. It's a really tough day. And if you're out there, don't process it how you want to process it. The loss of Peter Seidler is going to be felt for a long time. That can't be understated. This is not something that's going to be going away anytime soon. So, you know, Peter knew how to give people hope. He knew how to tell people, I can do this, when people would tell him he can't. And he spoke with his actions more than his words, even though his words at times were very powerful. So you're not just missing somebody that wrote, like, Peter wasn't a guy that just wrote the checks. He did way more than that. And knowing that he's gone, that just crushes you. It just does. It just absolutely crushes you. 844-570-1360. If you want to call in, if you want to give your thoughts on the passing of Peter Seidler, if you just want to talk, I'm here for you. 844-570-1360. If you want to text 70470, start your message with team. We're all, here for each other today. This is not about, like, the team as far as what are they going to do with their manager and AJ Preller and trading Juan Soto. Like, none of that today. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. Peter Seidler, the remembering of Peter Seidler and everything that he did for this community, that's at the forefront today. So we'll continue. Coming up next, we'll talk more. I'm here for you, 844-570-1360. If you want to call in, 70470. Start your message with team. More on the passing of the late, great Peter Seidler. Coming up next on San Diego Sports 760. right, coming up next, we'll discuss more of the passing of the late, great Peter Seidler, 844-570-1360. If you want to weigh in your thoughts, all that coming up next. All right, this update is brought to you by AutoZone. Of course, the news of the day, the sad passing of the late, great Peter Seidler, passing away at the age of 63. The Aztecs, they take on Long Beach State tonight, 7 p.m. tip-off. Of course, you can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone, AutoZone. All right, Jon and Jim back here on a Tuesday. Jon is on his way down to Viejas Arena to call the Aztecs Long Beach State game. Of course, that game you can listen to right here on San Diego Sports 760, 7 p.m. tip. Pregame starts at 6:30. But in the meantime, we're just sitting here kind of processing, like still processing. I know people have watching us on YouTube, or they might have just gotten in their car after a long work day and not really knowing what the hell what's going on. Hearing the news for the first time today, it can be shocking. It is shocking. It's a gut punch, like this morning when I was going to breakfast with my mom because she's in town, and seeing an article from Kevin earlier this morning about the manager search, and thinking to myself, oh well, okay, well, we're still gonna be waiting, and great. It looks like the communication isn't great there still, like with AJ, and same old, same old. And I looked down on my phone, and there's a email from Padres head of PR, Craig Hubner, And to me, I'm like, oh, they just hired a manager. All right. And then reading the news of the passing of Peter Seidler, you're like, you're kind of stuck. You're like, wait, what? Like, you almost don't believe it. You almost are sitting there thinking to yourself, no. I know he was sick, but he's going to make through. He's going to make it through. He's a two-time cancer survivor. He's a fighter. Like, he's going to make it through. Like, he said he was going to be back. And then realizing, like, he's not. He's not coming back. It just punches you in the gut. It's just a sad day for every single sports fan in San Diego, every single Padres fan, every San Diegan. I feel like even if you're not a Padres fan, and you live in San Diego, you know Peter Seidler, and you know how much he means to this community. And one thing that that you can do if you're looking for ways that you want to just help out in any way possible, if you're sitting there feeling helpless, which a lot of times people feel when dealing with grief and loss of life, is you want to help. You want to do something. Well, the one thing that Peter Seidler cared a lot about, other than just the Padres, was the Lucky Duck Foundation and dealing with the homeless issue here in San Diego and the homeless in San Diego. I know that the Lucky Duck Foundation, there's ways to donate. There's ways to give back. And in remembering Peter Seidler, I know that that's one thing he would want to be remembered for, not just being the owner of the Padres and bringing all of these sweet players into town and signing to them the huge contracts and bringing excitement back to San Diego and giving fans hope again, right? He would want to be also remembered for his charitable work and the Lucky Duck Foundation and everything that he did in town to help with the homeless. And I know the Lucky Duck Foundation has tweeted out today. They said, on behalf of our board of directors, the Tuesday group, and the entire Lucky Duck Foundation community, we are beyond saddened at the passing of Peter Seidler. We offer our deepest and heartfelt condolences to Peter's wife, Sheil, their 3 children, Peter's extended family, the San Diego Padres, and the greater San Diego community. Peter was the heart and soul of our organization and instrumental in leading and galvanizing our efforts to join him in a lifelong fight to prevent and alleviate the suffering of homelessness in San Diego County. Peter was inspirational and effective in everything he did, be that as a father, husband, business leader, owner of the Padres, philanthropist, and more. While Peter always stressed the importance of addressing homelessness through strategies that are, quote, best in class, Peter himself, which was truly best in class in every way. While it is impossible to replace Peter, we will do everything in our power to carry forward his deep commitment and passion to aiding our most vulnerable neighbors throughout San Diego County. You know, that Peter was more than just the owner of the Padres. He was more than that. He was more than a guy that just wrote checks, right? He was more than just a sports owner. Hearing about that, you know, Peter meant more to the community than I think people realized. Like, I don't think a lot of people realized how much he meant to this community, more than just bringing in a bunch of sweet players. And his optimism that he always exuded was something that not many people have in life. Like, not many people are as optimistic as Peter Seidler was. And hearing him speak, there's so many times that you listen to Peter talk, and if you're a fan of the team, you felt better. You're like, okay, I think I could get on board with this. There's times maybe you didn't get on board with what Peter said. You're like, Peter, come on, man. Really? The ship is sinking. What's going on here? But he was that way through and through. It didn't matter. He took all the criticism. He welcomed the criticism. He welcomed people with different opinions. He wasn't afraid to listen to people say that he should do this or he should do that. He took it all in stride. And that's the type of man Peter was. And before the season started, we're going to play a little snippet here from Peter. Just the optimistic ways that Peter exuded and the things that he said about the fan base here in San Diego just made you want to run through a brick wall for him. This was Peter before the season started in spring training, talking about the expectations and the fans and, bringing a championship here to San Diego. Yeah, that's who he was. He cared so deeply about the fan base and bringing excitement to San Diego. Yes, he wanted to win, but he wanted the Petco Park to be thriving. He wanted the streets to be filled with San Diegans and Padres jerseys and excited about a team that was theirs. And he's going to be greatly missed for all of that, for that vision, for that mindset. It starts with a vision, and that's what Peter had. Executing the vision is the hardest part. Did he execute that to the best of his ability? Absolutely. Did he bring a championship to San Diego during his time here? No. But he put the Padres on a path to get there that other owners in this town didn't care about doing. They didn't care about that at all. Peter did. Peter put the Padres on the path. He put them on the right path. He put the fan base before all. He cared deeply about you guys. And, one thing that Chad said here on the chat, which reigns true for any time these types of things occur, is you always have to remember out there to just tell your loved ones how much they mean to you on your no matter what, because who knows when it's going to be the last time you see them or talk to them. Who knew that the last time that we would hear from Peter Seidler was just a month and a half ago when he released that statement at the end of the season. That was kind of one of those surprises to everybody in the organization. Publicly, I forget the last time we heard from Peter publicly as far as like hearing his voice, other than talking to Kevin earlier in the season. But yeah, it's just a sad day, and we'll continue here with more on the life of Peter Seidler. 844-570-1360. If you want to call in, if you just want to talk, 70470. Start your message with team. More on the passing of Padres owner and chairman Peter Seidler. Coming up next on Jon and Jim. All right, more of the passing of Peter Seidler at the age of 63 and what he meant to San Diego. Your calls and texts coming up next.
We celebrate the life of Padres owner and chairman of the Padres, Peter Seidler.
Peter Seidler, his generosity really extended beyond the Padres to the homeless community out in San Diego.
Buying the team in 2012, he became president in 2020 and led the team to the NLCS in 2022.
He wanted the best of the team. He made decisions to win championships.
Listen all day as we react to the passing of Peter Seidler.
All right, Jon Jim for the final time here on a Tuesday, dark Tuesday here in San Diego with the passing of Padres owner Peter Seidler at the age of 63. We have Aztecs basketball for you tonight. 7 p.m. tip-off, 6:30 is when our pregame coverage starts. Right here, San Diego State taking on Long Beach State. If you want to give me a call, 844-570-1360. I'll be here with you for a couple more minutes if you want to just talk about Peter, what he meant to you as a fan, your thoughts. Give me a call, 844-570-1360. Let's go to line 2 and Patrick. Patrick, you're on with Jon and Jim. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Hey, thanks for taking my call, guys. Big hole in the city's heart today, I can tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Padres fan. I would consider myself a diehard fan, but I do go to a few games a year and I watch them on TV. My wife is not a sports fan at all, but just the energy that was being created by the team because of Peter kind of draw her in. And just a quick, interesting story. So she was just so enthralled by that energy that she's like, I want to go to a game. And so last season, early in the season, we did go to a game. Wanted to buy the jersey because she wanted to be part of that. And so we're sitting in the stands, and I see Peter down on the field. And I guess he had some kind of interview he's about ready to do, but he's down there in slacks, sneakers, and a baggy Padres hoodie.
Yeah.
And people are yelling to him. He's waving to people in the stands. He walked away from whoever was going to interview him to go over and high five some people on the sideline. And then he came back, and then they put a microphone in him, and she was like, "Who is that?" And I was like, "Hey, that's the owner of the Padres." And that's how he was. He was just an average Joe. So
yeah,
thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for the call, Patrick. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, that's what I've been saying is what made Peter different is that he was a billionaire that looked like he hung out in section 300 all the time. Like he looked like he was a guy that just hung out in the bleachers, loved the Padres, rooted for them, diehard fan. You would never know that if no one told you who Peter Seidler was and you never knew what he looked like, you would just think he's an average fan. And that's what made Peter different, is that he was always around. Now, he wasn't around at the very end because of his health issues, but it felt like he was always around, just wearing a baggy sweatshirt, some baggy pants, a hoodie, right? He was different. And one tweet here that I thought it's so good by Carl Ravage. He said, if every major league team had an owner who wanted to win as badly as Peter Seidler, the game would be better. He obsessed about, quote, slaying the dragon to the north. His impact on the team and the city of San Diego is and was phenomenal. Yeah, I agree. We've said this multiple times. This is not the first time saying it here on Jon and Jim. Every single other fan of every other team in baseball wished and wishes that they had an owner like Peter Seidler. Goes out, puts his money where his mouth is, signs the big checks, brings in the big time players, cares about the fan base more than anything. Did it work out here? I think it worked out to the sense of bringing the Padres back to a relevant point that they weren't at for well over a decade. In that sense, it absolutely worked. Peter brought this team to a point that could make fans proud and happy. And for me, seeing the fan base here, how just every single game that park was filled up, that makes you happy. If you're a fan of the Padres, you knew that Peter always did everything for you. You knew that you had an owner that cared about you. Even if you didn't know Peter at all, even if you never met Peter, you knew that, hey, he cares about me. So, of course, we'll have more on this throughout the week. The passing of Peter Seidler at the age of 63. Again, if you missed anything today, go to the podcast center. You can go to YouTube at Jon and Jim 760. Check out the show. We talk about that more. I know we're going to have a wrap-up show tomorrow night because Jon has basketball tonight with the Aztecs. So stay tuned for that. Thank you to Brent. Thank you to Jon. Thank you to all of you for listening, texting in today. Coming up next, San Diego State. They take on Long Beach State. Keep it right here on San Diego Sports 760.